call the Planning and Zoning Committee to order on April 5th, 2022 at 9:40 a.m. Amanda, would you call the roll, please?
McGinnis?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Awful?
Yes.
Barr?
Yes. A motion to approve the agenda,
So moved.
second by Ernie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Has everyone had a chance to go over the claims? Motion to approve the claims. Second. Any discussion? Would you call the roll, please, Amanda?
McGinnis?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Awful?
Yes.
Barr?
Yes. Are there any public comments this morning? Reports from the department heads. Mr. Albers.
I don't have anything yet, we're just still waiting on the state to approve the tax levies that was your office had sent down, their Brian's office. So, just waiting on the state to send their information back, and then when she does her thing, then I can do mine.
Okay. Green?
So now that Kurt reported for me, I don't have anything to say. Just kidding. So assessment did roll to us March 21st, so we were able to get abstracts, proved balance, mailed into the state. And so we sent those on March 23rd. Now, if you recall in the past, it's usually about 4 weeks before we hear anything from the state regarding receipt of the abstracts, anything like that. And then there's a list of questions that Bob gets emailed that they're called the 1% questions. And that's usually the last step that the Department of Revenue is on before they send us our final multiplier. Well, Bob came in on Friday, which, if you remember, Friday was April Fool's Day. And he told me that he just answered the 1% questions. So it's pretty unheard of that he's answered them that quickly. It was not an April Fool's. I did confirm that. So hopefully we'll get the final multiplier in a week, maybe. Then obviously we still have extension steps to do, but things are progressing a lot faster than they have in the last few years. So that's good. There is one county board seat that is currently without a candidate running on the June 28th ballot. So anyone can run as a write-in. Between now and the end of April, they have to file their paper to run as a write-in if they're interested, but it's in the southern part of the county.
What district?
The Loda, Cissna, Prairie Green, Stockland, Lovejoy, all the way up to Sheldon, I guess. So it is a pretty big district, and so there is that one position that has not been filled.
Is that number 2 or 3?
District 3.
3,
Yeah.
okay.
And then just a quick note about those statements of economic interest that have just been a complete hassle since they changed the language on them. I actually just saw a news report on Channel 3 last night that Douglas County has a drainage district that all of the commissioners resigned on their district. Anyway, the House Ethics Committee met last week regarding the statements of economic interest, and I'm hopeful that they will come up with something that will not have people so angry. Especially the lower, or not lower, the levels of government that are like drainage districts, that they don't really get paid for their, I mean, they might get paid a little bit, but that don't deal with a lot of money. It just is silly. So anyway, hopefully they'll come up with something that will be a little less frustrating for the people that are willing to serve. And that's all I have.
Okay,
And if you have questions on it, come see me. 'Cause
Yeah.
I can help you fill them out, Brian won't. I mean,
Well,
other than the list.
legally, only an attorney is supposed to help them fill it out, so.
Okay, making suggestions.
That's why I do not.
have you, what's the situation with the mail-in ballots? I was hearing things about people,
About people what?
are they requesting mail-in ballots now, or?
You can, yeah,
Okay.
the applications can be submitted, we can't mail a ballot until May 19th.
Yeah,
So, but it's normal vote by mail procedure. There is something coming up before the general election, which is technically happening now, that, people can sign up for a permanent vote by mail list. And that's that letter that I have to send out to every registered voter to inform them of their right or ability to sign up for a permanent vote by mail list.
when will that go out?
I believe I have to do it before the general or
Okay.
consolidated. They changed the
Okay.
language in the law,
So
so
that's off in the,
it's off into the
distance.
future.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna put it off as long as I can because there's gonna be a lot of angry people in Iroquois County regarding it, so.
Yeah.
Just as the way it is.
okay, okay, thanks a lot, Brian. Planning and zoning office report, Bob isn't here today, so you have this right here, you can peruse it after the meeting when you get home. Discussion and action on application of Tim and Lori Hickman for a rezoning variance. And that's this one right here.
That one I don't have, I just have this record, that's what I was given.
That's the
Are
other
they
one.
together?
So that- Okay, this is the one.
Okay, I didn't get a copy of that, I wasn't given that.
Oh,
That was the one that was, zoned like a business,
yeah,
but now needs 50 residents.
so, let me take a look here.
You guys need copies, I'm gonna go make some.
Do we have the buyer here?
So,
Just the seller.
Okay, well, you wanna give us an overview then of what's going on?
Yeah, we took an offer on it, we had it on the market for 2.5 years under commercial, and got no offers. So we switched it to residential, with the option that, you know, that we could come here and hopefully get it switched over to residential zoning. So we did take a contingent offer on that, contingent on if it gets, their lender will not let them move in or get a loan or anything unless it's zoned residential.
Okay,
That's where we're at in the deal,
so that's what the variation is for, going
to
from
satisfy their lender.
business, yeah, business to residential to
Correct.
satisfy the lender. Okay, and,
According to Robert, is it Robert Yerler? He told my brother, who's the real estate agent, Tim Williamson, that, if someone came with cash, that your board said it would be okay to move in. But their lender won't let them move into a building that's not zoned residential.
yeah, well, the zoning board approved it a week ago to this evening, so that pretty much takes care of that. So are there any questions for the Hickmans? Like I say, the only reason it's being rezoned is because like Mrs. Hickman said, the lender would not lend the money on anything that was business. It had to be residential, so that's what we're voting on, to rezone it residential. And this is and that's, oh, you have it, okay.
The property has its own well, own septic. You know, it's not tied into the city. And when the building was built, we only put one major support wall in the building, because we have a lot of therapy rooms we had in there.
Mhm.
And so the current buyers can remove any wall and reconstruct any room to make it larger, you know, to suit their home needs.
Yeah,
So it's not, you know, it's not set in stone, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
so is there, it's south of Route 24 and on the west side is Route 49 in Crescent City. Is there a motion to accept the zoning?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Amanda, will you call the roll, please?
McGinnis,
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Barr.
Yes. Okay,
All right, thank you. So we still have to come next Tuesday though, right?
yes.
Okay. Yeah, we told the buyer that we would attend and she didn't have to. If she's from Homewood, so just, thanks guys, have a good day.
You.
Okay, discussion and action on application of John and Brittany for rezoning variance. Okay, how do you pronounce the last name?
Navace.
Navace.
It's French.
Not Irish. Okay, John, you wanna just stand up here and give us an overview of what you're wanting to do?
Yeah, so, excuse me. So pretty much, me and my wife are wanting to build a residential property, or a residential home on that property. And right now it's zoned as vacant and non-farmable. There's a little portion that they use, but it's less than, half an acre by quite a bit, so.
So that's just basically it then?
Yep, there's nothing there really on that property. It's not used for anything. There's no buildings on it. I was told there used to be a house on there a long time ago, and it was knocked down. But it's pretty much just a sand hill up on over and down, and then that we're looking to put a house on.
Yeah, it's in the very north, the very southwest corner of Beaver Township.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. And when would you be thinking of construction?
You know, we're not set on a date or anything by any means. I've been talking with a couple builders and just trying to get some numbers and ideas on stuff, but we don't have a set date. I think me and my wife would like to get, you know, started at some point, you know, in the near future, but we don't, like I said, we don't know if it's gonna be 3 months, if it's gonna be 6 months.
Okay.
So it could be a year, we just don't know. We have to get some numbers, some hard numbers still for
Yeah.
a couple contractors.
Okay. Is there anyone in opposition to this? Okay, could you please state your case, please?
I'm Jake Kramer. I farm out right next to their farm where they're wanting to build there. I deal with other places from people from the city moving down, and I got nuisance neighbors constantly. And all I'm doing is just trying to prevent that. I talked to John here, it's nothing against him. In the future, you know, what's gonna happen to the house. We just see plenty of eyesores amongst the county as it is. I just try and prevent that. That little sliver piece there, I don't know what their building layout is, if it's even possible to put a house on that little sliver with, I don't know what your borders are, regulations are, anything like that, but, I've offered to buy that property there, and that's they could have done something with their property, it's not just waste property, so. That's just what my case is.
What would you have done with the property if you want?
It would square mine up, actually, and it'd make an easement for me.
What do you farm?
There'd be 110 acres. It'd be on the northeast corners of that.
Okay,
I own the front half and he owns the back half.
okay. Do you have something you'd like to say, Mr. Hunt?
One of the big things would be my property taxes going up.
Beg pardon?
I said, one of the big things on one of these is my property taxes going up. They build a new house there, my property taxes are gonna go up. Yeah, they are.
Well,
What, Chad?
Just because someone built a house, it's not gonna cause yours to go up.
Yeah, they will.
yeah, are there any questions? Yes.
I'm Matt Custer. I actually own the 80 that surrounds that property. Brittany and John is actually, he's my son-in-law, Brittany's my daughter. They actually help me farm as well. So this ground, I can attest, since I farm around it, is unfarmable. You can't get within about 20 feet of it, and it's just basically sand. It grows trees pretty well. Actually grows grass pretty well too. But I think it's important to remember, they're not people from Chicago. They grew up in Martinton Township and Cissna Park. Yeah, lifelong residents of Iroquois County. John actually helps me farm and will probably take over for me at some time. So he's actually building a house on ground he's going to farm.
Okay. Now, where do you farm?
I farm the 80 that's around this, right there.
There's a barn.
All of this.
Okay.
There's actually a
Yeah,
building
that's
site
why
there
there's
right
a
now.
house.
There is a corn crib there and
Yeah,
there was
and
a
you can see
house.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
My Uncle Jerry actually used to live in the
yeah,
house.
with the corn crib there.
It was just torn down. You can't really plant it or rip down the sand hill or anything. It was just a building zone is what it was.
Okay,
So they're just looking to restore it, put another house on
It's wide enough. or wouldn't it
Yeah,
require
it's,
100 foot?
it's 166
It's
feet
wide.
wide and 1,327 and a half feet
Plenty of
long.
setback from the road.
Yeah, so you'd have setback.
They are county residents.
it. Sister Park, it's kind of Chicago.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Chicago name.
Are there
But you
any,
have to be
wasn't-
careful.
It wasn't nothing to them being in Chicago, it's,
But
they
they're not gonna
would
sell the
pre-sell.
house.
Yeah, but we have to
Because
be
they're
careful when we
actually
say that, because
Going
we're
to
letting them
farm
buy.
around as well and farms.
You can't just,
are there any questions?
You have to remember, it's also going to add to Donovan School District as well. They're paying taxes on it. They're planning to raise a family.
yeah.
The kids are going to go to Donovan as well. But if you,
Tax basis, we got people moving out, it looks like we're rebuilding on a former site anyway, cause there's
Yeah.
a crib, I'm looking at the Google Maps, you can see the pathway.
How long ago was there a house on the property?
it would have been, Jerry lived there late 50s, early 60s would have been the last time.
I mean,
Kind
there
of
looks
fell into
like
repair. I think
a tree,
Halls might have owned it before that. Sat empty for a while and then they finally tore it
and
down.
you have to,
So that strip of land has always been, well, not always, but
Yes, it has trees.
the
on
house
it.
that was there was encompassed by that strip of land.
That's correct. It was within that strip of land. And then there's still a corn crib there and
Yeah.
several trees that surround the
Yeah.
house.
corn cribs always went around the houses.
There used to even be a well pipe sticking up out there too, as well, that we capped off.
You gotta understand where we're coming from. When we bought our place almost 30 years ago, we bought it because it was, we were in the middle of farm country. There was nothing around us. There was nothing out there. Now he's gonna build a house right on my west fence.
How far will that be from your place?
The closest they can be is 1,000 feet, and it is through a timber and a pasture as well.
Yeah, there's,
Okay,
And they don't even have to be 1,000. They could set, that's the closest point they can get to this house. That's almost a corner line.
the land across the road is in Hanson Trust. That looks like an 80, and then there's about 340 south of it, so there wouldn't be any chance of anyone building on that.
Yeah, I believe that that's 80 acres if it's
Yeah.
farmland, right?
Yeah. And how much does Rudy Orr own to the north?
109 acres.
How much?
109.
Okay. But I'm sure he doesn't wanna sell 80 acres so someone can put up a house.
No, I'm here on that behalf to contest this one.
Yeah, okay. So we're talking one house in the future, about 1,000 feet from your place, and then to the north and south of you, people wouldn't be building.
Wouldn't be building, how you figure that?
Well, Hanson's Trust, that 80 is in Hanson Trust, and they, like I say, they've got adjoining 120 to the south. They have to sell 80 acres for someone to build.
Or they just hand over 5 acres and rezone. It'd be the same thing we're doing today. You just never know.
No.
The 5 acre
that
strip,
won't
No,
the
happen.
5 acre strip that they're talking about is in somebody's, what's her name?
My
It's
mom's.
already
It's
a
in your
5 acre
mom's name.
parcel.
yeah, it's already a 5 acre parcel, there's no, that's a
It's been,
80 acre field, and you can't just take 5 acres out of it. You have to buy, what is it, John, minimum
75,
of 75 acres?
37 and 75, depending on how it's classified,
Yeah.
A1 or A2.
So, to the north and south, if you put up a house, residence, well, you'd have to, like Chad said, either buy 75 or 37 and a half.
Who owns the property right now?
Janet Custer, my mom.
How come, I mean, I just, cause I don't know. That 5 acres is in her name, and then the next 80 acre strip is in your name,
Yeah.
and then the next 40 acres is in her name.
It's in hers, right? What,
Well, shouldn't it, I mean, deed and title are legal documents, am I correct?
You know, we're just talking about 80 acres.
You know what I'm talking about, is there's a 5 acre strip that doesn't connect to stuff that's in her name.
Probably was.
when we bought it, actually, we were offered the 41st. That was a situation where the owner was in a nursing home and they were selling bit by bit to us. And for some reason at the time, my dad wanted that built on. So he actually bought the 40 on the other side. And I go, well, I'll take it, I guess. And my dad goes, no, I don't. If you knew my dad now, you didn't hang with him. So he literally just wanted to buy that piece, so he bought it. And he also bought the 40 on the other side.
Okay, well, is there a motion, one way or the other, how to proceed with this and send it to the county board? You voting either to allow the zoning variation or to not allow it.
To me, it looks like there was an existing site on it. It was never split off to do this. It was always been split. It's been its own parcel number, 5 acres. That's the best use of the 5 acres for the interest of the county, interest of the school district to put residential back on the taxing rolls. So with that, I move to approve its adoption. I recommend approval to the full county board.
I second that.
It meets our zoning.
Okay,
It should never been A1, it
any
was
more
too small.
discussion? Amanda, call the roll, please.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Awful, Barb,
Yes.
It should have been harder.
Okay, gentlemen. We meet, the board meets at 9 o'clock a week from today, so we'll want you here to present what you just presented to the full board. Find my agenda here. Discussion and action on resolutions for parcels sold through the delinquent tax program. Where's that?
Okay, so everyone has one of those little monthly resolution sheets, that I passed out. The parcel that we're talking about is one that is in, the city of Watsika. I'm pretty sure it's in Belmont Township, that might be Middleport though. Judging by the parcel number, I can't tell, but I know that someone in the assessment office would be able to. Anyway, it's a parcel that the, name on here, Ademi, they owned it, and then they're just surrendering, the tax agent is just surrendering the certificate. So they're paying basically all of the tax to get the money back. It's the most that the county could receive. So, just asking for approval of this resolution so they can basically have their property back.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept this then?
I second she first.
Okay. Any discussion? Amanda, call the roll, please.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Barth,
Yes. Discussion on building permit enforcement fines and penalties. Tabling that till next month.
I would say remove it until we have something.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no need keeping it on there until we actually have something. Same thing with the next one. Till we come up with something presentable.
Yeah, Angel isn't here, so table that. Old business,
Not sure if this is old business or new business, cause it was previous business, but it's,
yeah,
this, when I sent the request out, the Loda property, the guy that wanted to rezone, but then it wasn't, something wasn't right. Sent a request to UCCI for some sample ordinances. This is what came back from Kendall County. So it's something to look at if it's, we probably should be a little more specific so that we don't have to, if this comes up again. So the only thing on here is it doesn't really say a minimum acreage or size. It just makes it, conditional use as a B2 district. So that's the business for them. But it also allows it to be a special use in their B3, 6, and M1 and M2 districts. So
now,
it could be
What-
wise to,
what villages or fair-sized places are in Kendall County?
this is just their ordinance for
Okay.
those mini storages.
Okay.
So it's a mix. It's farm, rural, a little more populated,
I talked to
more money. So
Bob, and what he said, we're gonna revisit this down the road.
mhm.
And it probably will come back as the same zoning as it was, and they're working with the church to get some extra land so that they come close to being able to, have this 2 acres.
Mhm.
And the zoning board of review is pretty, quite,
Well, we didn't have anything.
well, no, that's it, they put it in something, all we had was, an ordinance that's, I think,
The
all
industrial
it
area.
said, yeah, industrial, it said storage.
Mhm.
And so I thought they'd come back with that, and that's what Bob thought, but they're gonna come back with business. And, be close to 2 acres because, all this was, I think it was just a little over half an acre.
Mhm.
And so the zoning board just would not accept that at
Yeah.
all. They were very adamant about it and just said, you just, if you were close, why, we would think of accepting it, but you're not even close. And so it was only 32,000 square feet, I think. And they have, they state 2 acres, which is 86,000 square feet, 87,000. So, like I say, talking to Bob, he said we'll revisit it down the road a ways, and they are gonna come back and resubmit, so.
Yeah, and what's nice about this is it does reference
Yeah.
Illinois statute,
Yeah.
And it does deal with the mini storages
Yeah.
that are popping up, and it's gonna come back.
Yeah,
Those are popular, so,
yeah, and so,
look at it. And next month, we can,
Maybe it's a good idea to look at the Illinois statute also.
so,
yeah,
but yeah, it's all referenced there, so just chew on it, whether we should put something in
I
there.
think they're serious out there, we'll never have another one like this anytime soon.
do you know where that would be located, John?
Hmm?
You know where that would be located?
What?
You said we're gonna have something coming.
No, I said it's doubtful that we will have
Oh,
anything come on
yeah.
like this
I
again.
think, yeah,
Yeah, but just in case, I mean,
Right,
yeah,
for the,
but I think
ZBA.
what we need to be looking at is what's the best way to put that in our ordinance.
yeah, that way
Yeah.
they won't have to be fumbling around and.
I don't know that we do we need a whole complete ordinance to cover something that may not happen, or is there another way to encompass it into what we have?
yeah, I mean, they,
Would be the
basic
question.
verbiage is here, they
And
just
I
have it
don't-
as a
And I'm
permitted.
not saying one way or the
Or
other, because I
conditional.
don't know myself which is the best way, but I think
Yeah,
that's what we should be thinking, is
Yeah.
how we're gonna handle it.
yeah, because under industrial, it just says storage.
I mean, we could just list it as a conditional use in the B2, and then in the definition section of our ordinance, the definite of what mini warehouse is. Because we have that part that defines things so that,
And also in where, there's a whole long list of things that can qualify.
Oh, yeah.
And storage isn't one of them, so if we added it in there, that would be another way, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just need to think about all that part of it, so what's be the best way to handle it going forward.
They are popular in many places, so there's
Right,
a
but
good possibility it might show up. There's a good possibility it won't, so.
Yeah. most of them are the towns.
They're pretty much always been confined to urban areas.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and they have their own zoning, we don't get involved in that.
Yeah. I think we've got 2 here in town and one in Sheldon, so.
A lot of towns have them already in the county,
Yeah.
it's just a matter, it's not likely to be out in the rural areas.
Is there any old business? Any new business?
Adjourn.
Oh, you beat me to it. Is there a second?
Second to adjourn, anybody?
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay.